Another great tip I've got for you that applies to all fisheries, not just Fryerning, is to think about your baiting up. Don't go piling loads in to start with. I've been guilty of it myself on here. You're able to use a boat to put the bait out if you wish to, so it's easy to just pile loads in. And once you've piled loads in, the trouble is if the fish aren't really feeding much at the time, then they've got the opportunity to just go and pick at it willy-nilly. Whereas if you've got a sensible amount there to start with and you get a bite, then you create the interest and you can keep topping it up. I quite liken it to my pond at home. If I put loads and loads of floating pellets in there, they'll just pick them off here and there, you know, they don't have to worry too much because they know there's loads there. Whereas if I just put out, you know, a couple at a time and just keep flicking them in the pond, they're literally fighting for these pellets, you know, and that applies out there as well. Create that competition for food, get the fish coming in and looking for it, and you will catch more as a result.
As a carp angler, your most dangerous weapon of all is your eyes, and observation really is the name of the game wherever you're fishing. And a guy came up to my swim last night, not long after I got fishing. He said, "Why have you set up in here, Adam?" And I said, "I've seen 2 fish out here." And after spending quite a few hours yesterday walking around, looking and looking, I saw 2 fish out there, and that was good enough for me. You know, on any lake you go to, if you just set up in a swim that you like the look of without paying any real attention to where the carp might be, then usually you'll be on a hide into nothing. The fish will come in ridiculously close at times, and within 10 minutes of Joe and I arriving yesterday, we found a couple of fish feeding in 18 inches of water within 3 foot of the bank. I had a stalk for them, but I wasn't good enough to catch one of them. But it just goes to show that, you know, if you turn up, if you've got your Polaroids or welding goggles like these and you're prepared to have a good walk around and a good look before committing yourself, then you can make opportunities. If you always make sure you get on the fish, then wherever you're angling, then you're going to be in with the best possible chance. If you combine that with getting up early, doing the dawn watch, that's when carp tend to be out there most active. Again, be vigilant, be observant, and you'll catch more carp.
A lot of lakes I've fished in the past tend to be mainly gravel because they are gravel pits. Fryerning, however, is mainly clay. So there are patches of gravel out there, but there's not loads. As a result, I personally think that there's a good chance those fish, the fish that are in here, will use those spots as sort of markers as to know where they are around the lake. And as a result, they use them as roadways too. So, you know, it can help in here to find the gravelly areas. As I say, there's not loads of them, but spend a little bit of time with your marker float and you will. Personally, rather than fishing on the gravel, I think that makes it a lot easier for the crayfish and also for the fish to deal with your rig. If you find that gravel and then come just off it, just a couple of foot, you know, until it, you know, stops, and fish on that as opposed to on the top of it, I think you should put yourself in a better position. When the fish are digging around in a bit of softer stuff, you know, it's much harder for them to be fussy about what they're sucking and blowing out. And obviously with a shortish hook length and a fairly big lead, they can nail themselves really easily.
When it comes to facilities, here at Fryerning you have to go a long way to beat it. There's free tea and coffee in the lodge, a small tackle shop if you forget a few bits, there's toilets, the showers are currently being upgraded again, and there's also 12 infrared security cameras across the site, together with an automated gate, so safety is one of the most important factors. It's amazing to think that Fryerning is actually just 10 minutes from the M25, yet it appears that you're miles from anywhere. Such is its peace and tranquility, nestled away in its Essex countryside valley. The quality of angling here is based on 3 decades of ongoing fish management, syndicate development and plain, good old-fashioned great service. The site is beautifully maintained and the abundance of wildlife and rare meadow flowers only adds to the ambience of Fryerning, with the ultimate goal to be the finest carp fishing syndicate in the UK.